This is the newsroom for Friday, May 14, 2021. We're broadcasting to you on E1, Scar TV, NTN, and Tarzi TV in Bartica. In the headlines, the Ministry of Education is exploring the possibility of eliminating the national grade 6 assessments and to make all secondary schools equal.
We are in the process of examining how we can place students in secondary schools that are all equal.
Over 80 persons are hospitalized as Guyana battles almost 2,000 active COVID-19 cases. Massy opened $68 million mini store at Montrose, East Coast, Demerara. And in sport, West Indies to play Pakistan in 3 2020 international matches at Providence in July and August, and the possibility exists that fully vaccinated persons can attend those matches. With the news, I'm Kurt Campbell. We're glad you can join us. First up, the Ministry of Education is currently exploring whether the National Grade 6 Assessment, NGSA, should be stopped and instead whether direct focus can be placed on ensuring an equal delivery of education. Vishani Rakabir has more details.
The National Grade 6 Assessment is Guyana's secondary school placement examination. It tests 4 subject areas: mathematics, English language, science, and social studies, and it is written by children aged 10 years old on average. The Minister of Education, Priya Manikchan, however, said that this assessment places a significant amount of pressure on young children and alternatives are being considered.
NGSA is something we have to write. Not because we want to test children and find out who is bright and who is not, as Dr. Hudson said. It's a placement exam. We have to find out where to put children. So after primary school, which high school are you going to? And it has turned into something that I don't like anymore. Never really did. And we have to find ways to change that. And we are currently examining how we can make sure it doesn't matter which high school you get. It does not. In this government, I am telling you, we are closer rather than further from the place of saying to you, it doesn't matter which high school you get. You will be able to do as well as if you got the Queen's College that you've always heard about. So we're trying to work to do that, to make sure there is equality of service, of trained teacher, of facility, of labs across the high school sector, so that it doesn't matter which high school you get, you can do well and you can perform well.
While the minister alluded to an elimination of the NGSA, she subsequently noted that such a decision will only be made after wide consultations with parents, teachers, and other stakeholders. She explained to the newsroom that the focus will be on providing quality services to students, regardless of which school they attend.
We're looking at ways that we can be friendly to children, even as we keep the formal education system going. Testing children on one single day and having their future decided based on that day when they're 10 years old is hard, and it might not be the most child-friendly thing we can do. Now, I don't want to make pronouncements now about what we will replace that with, if anything at all, but we are in the process of examining how we can place students in secondary schools that are all equal. So that's the whole selling point here, that the schools in the secondary schools have to provide equal type of education, and then see if the best way to do this is just to test on a paper, or if perhaps we want to look at build up of testing. It's not we haven't decided one way or the other. It's a conversation we're having, not idly, very robustly. We are in the process of reforming the curriculum and looking at whether things are outdated or not, and looking at what new things we need to be teaching, and looking at the depth that we need to go in these early levels. So that's a conversation that's happening at the ministry. As you know, it won't be a conversation that stops at the ministry, so we'd have to have a wider type of consultation in and around these issues.
While speaking at the event on Friday, the minister also alluded to the possible halting of the grades 2 and 4 assessments as well. Reporting for the newsroom, I am Vishani Ragabir.
We tell you now that former Commissioner of the Guyana Lands and Surveys Commission, GLNSC, Trevor Benn, was on Friday released on $100,000 bail after he was charged with a third offence of misconduct in public office in relation to the sale of state lands to Sevon's Waste Management Inc. for $80 million. Ben, 53, of Century Palms Garden, Durban Backlands, appeared before Magistrate Leron Daly at the Georgetown Magistrates Court and was not required to plead to the charge. It is alleged that between October 1st, 2018 and August 31st, 2020, Ben willfully misconducted himself by executing a sale of a parcel of land at Plantation Lerpentier and causing Sevon's Waste Management Inc. to pay the sum of $80 million to the Commission for the said lands, knowing at the time that he did not have the authority to sell the land. He is also accused of willful misconduct amounting to a breach of public trust without any excuse or reasonable justification. Ben is being represented by attorneys at law Mark Waldron and Keoma Griffith. The matter is adjourned to June 18, 2021. Meanwhile, Ben is also before the court for his involvement in another alleged $87.8 million illegal land deals at Ogle East Coast Demerara and Middle Walk Plantation, Rimeveld. 2 more persons who tested positive for COVID-19 have died, taking the total number of deaths from the pandemic to 335. The latest fatalities are 2 males, a 69-year-old from Region 10 and a 70-year-old from Region 4. They both died while receiving care at a medical facility on Thursday, May 13. The latest deaths also mean that 36 persons have died for this month so far. Meanwhile, the Minister of Health, Dr. Frank Anthony, on Friday said health officials are currently monitoring some 1,866 active COVID-19 cases across the country. Of that number, only 83 persons are hospitalized, with 54 of them at the Infectious Diseases Hospital at Liliendal. 12 are in the intensive care unit there. The more than 1,800 additional active cases remain in home and institutional isolation. Guyana has reported a total of 14,845 confirmed cases of the virus since March 2020, with 335 of those persons dying and 12,693 recovering. With the daily total of new cases increasing steadily in recent weeks, Dr. Anthony highlighted some of the hotspots and promised increased monitoring in these areas. He singled out the towns of New Amsterdam in Region 6 and Bartica in Region 7, with 77 and 81 active cases, respectively.
We have seen a number of places that we deemed as hotspots. So if we look at Region 3, for example, Tushin area is still considered to be a hotspot. We have currently 31 cases there. In Parfait Harmony, we have 24 cases. In Vredenhoek, 21 cases. In Canal number 2, there are 17 cases in that area. When we come to Region 4, where we have our highest number of active cases, we have seen that on the East Bank corridor, that you have 46 cases at Diamond. Grove, we have about 30 active cases. Herstelling, 28 cases. So you have a very active area, so to speak, in between Diamond, Grove, Herstelling area. And so we have to put in some more interventions and try to reduce the spread in these areas, because over the last couple of weeks we have seen a consistent amount of cases coming from these areas. In Georgetown, again, we are monitoring Sophia with about 25 cases, active cases right now. Kitty with 18, Le Penitent 17. So these are the more active areas in Georgetown. On the East Coast, we continue to monitor the Montrose area, Numprel. Montrose right now we have 16 cases, Numprel we have about 15 cases.
Dr. Anthony also provided updated statistics on the current vaccination campaign. As of May 13, a total of 163,534 persons received their first dose of the vaccine, which equates to 33.6% of Guyana's adult population. But only 21,203 have so far received their second dose. This means that just a small percentage of Guyana's adult population is fully inoculated against the virus. The health minister used the opportunity to encourage citizens who have received their first dose of the vaccine to go back and get their second dose when it is due. When the newsroom returns, Guyana benefits from $1.5 million to help fight HIV/AIDS, and Massy stores open 68 million mini store at Montrose, East Coast, Demerara. You're watching the newsroom. Guyana will benefit from an additional US $1.5 million through the United States President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, PEPFAR, aimed at supporting the local fight against HIV/AIDS in Guyana. Vishani Raghuveer tells us more.
The US $1.5 million is being given through a new Center for Disease Control and Prevention grant with support from PEPFAR. United States Ambassador to Guyana, Sarah Ann Lynch, advocated for greater support.
Since 2004, via the U.S. President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, or PEPFAR, the U.S. has provided more than $185 million to support HIV prevention, testing, care, and treatment services in Guyana. It has been a remarkable partnership, one that has truly saved many lives. And so we are thrilled to be able to provide an additional $1.5 million to support the fight against HIV/AIDS in Guyana. This funding will support the Ministry of Health and civil society partners through September of 2022. It is especially timely given the COVID-19 pandemic that we're all dealing with and the strain it continues to place on the country's health system.
Meanwhile, the Minister of Health, Dr. Frank Anthony, highlighted that Guyana has benefited significantly from its partnership with the United States, particularly in the fight against HIV/AIDS. With this grant, he noted that the country would be able to continue the programs that have been implemented to provide testing, treatment, and care in line with the United Nations 90-90-90 strategy.
For us to really work to achieve the 90-90-90 and even to get to the 95-95-95 by 2025, there's still a lot of work to be done. And that's why it's so important that this grant is coming at this time, this extension of the $1.5 million US. It is going to help us to focus on all three of these 90s and to try to get us close to where we ought to be, and even to aspire to get to 95-95-95. Some of the programs that we have, for example, with the first 90, while we've achieved that, we would want to continue in terms of doing some of the other things to get people to continue testing. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that we have introduced is self-testing. And we have developed a strategy of introducing self-testing. And so we want to roll that out. We are going to do more work on that to roll that out. But this is going to ensure that we get more people to test and to know their status.
The minister also highlighted that the local authorities are also seeking to roll out pre-exposure prophylaxis, or PrEP, which is an anti-HIV medication that HIV-negative individuals take to lower their chances of contracting the sexually transmitted infection. This is being rolled out to all interested persons. Reporting for the newsroom, I am Vishani Raghuveer.
Commissioner of Police Acting Nigel Hoppy and the Director of Public Prosecutions DPP Shalimar Ali Haq have made an application to the High Court for copies of statements of polls, SOPs, and statements of recount SORs from the 2020 general and regional elections. The DPP and the Top Cup have posited that the documents are needed to support several ongoing court cases in the Magistrates' Court related to electoral fraud. Chief Justice Acting Roxanne George on Friday said she will hear brief arguments in the case at 13:30 hours on May 24, after which she will set a date for ruling. The Police Commissioner and the DPP want the Chief Justice to grant an order instructing the Registrar of the High Court, Suanna Lovell, to make photocopies of the SOPs and SORs in her possession. The Registrar is also being asked to certify that the true copies of the originals are presented. We tell you now that ahead of the National Grade 6 Assessment NGSA, which will be written on August 4 and 5, 2020, Grade 6 pupils will be able to benefit from extra video tutoring daily through an NGSA booster development by the Ministry of Education. Here is Vashani Raghuveer again.
The National Grade 6 Assessment Booster will feature pre-recorded videos of Guyanese teachers explaining topics that pupils will be required to know as they sit the exams later this year. Importantly, the pupils will not be tested on topics at the grade 6 level due to disruptions caused by the COVID-19 pandemic.
We don't want students going into the room, our Guyanese babies, and feeling so heavily unprepared for this exam that they feel like we're committing an assault on them, or we're hurting them emotionally or psychologically because we're sending you into an exam unprepared. We don't want to do that. And that is why this program here is being launched today. And so this program here today is a program where every single topic in that 20-week curriculum is going to be done on video by your local teachers who understand you, whose accents you understand, who understand the concepts we created in our curriculum because they've been teaching it for years, and who very nice to look at. Particularly nice feature in this series, this NGSA booster, is that teachers will take you through exam questions, past exam questions, and tell you the answers and how to arrive at those answers if you see similar questions on your exam paper.
That was Minister of Education Priya Manikchan. It was noted that the NGSA Booster Program has been developed by the Guyana Learning Channel and is expected to be available in all regions for pupils to view and help supplement their preparation for the NGSA. Meanwhile, Head of the Guyana Learning Channel, Anisha Mohammed, highlighted that the videos will be shown on the Guyana Learning Channel on Mondays to Fridays from 10:30 hours to 15:30 hours, and then rebroadcasted from 17 hours to 19 hours. There will also be a full rebroadcast on Saturdays and Sundays from 9 hours to 17 hours.
Timetables will be released via the Guyana Learning Channel, Ministry of Education's Facebook page and the website every Sunday. This way, if there is an instant where you know your child needs a boost on a particular topic, you can view our timetable and better plan ahead to ensure that your child is available to view that lesson. Daily posters on topics will be available on our channel, on our Facebook pages, as a reminder to tune in as well.
This year's NGSA will be set by the Caribbean Examinations Council (CXC) and will test pupils in the areas of mathematics, science, English, and social studies. Reporting for the Newsroom, I am Vashani Raghuveer.
We tell you now that with an investment of $68 million, Massy Stores Guyana introduced its new location, Massy Stores Mini Supermarket at Montrose, East Coast, Demerara. In a convenient store-type style, Massy Mini occupies less space than its other stores at Providence and Turkine, but it still offers a curated assortment of essential items. Shamika D has more details.
The idea behind Massy Stores Mini at Montrose, East Coast, Demerara was to create a convenient type of store to cater to shoppers with a hectic and fast-paced lifestyle and smaller baskets. With an investment of $68 million, Massy Mini is the third Massy Stores Guyana location. At the ribbon-cutting ceremony, Massy Group Executive Christian Bob Semple, who is responsible for the Massy Mini location, said that the company continues to provide Guyanese with different shopping options, with a focus placed on an enhanced shopping experience.
We truly believe Guyanese deserve better options, coupled with a focus on enhanced shopping experience, and that is what we are making accessible. So while we are targeting all customers, our initial circle of influence will touch from Plaisance in the west to Manripo in the east. Our goal in outfitting the store is that everyone, regardless of income bracket, must be able to come and get what they need. We will guarantee freshness, we will guarantee quality. Be assured that the values which we uphold will not change. We will continue to deliver exceptional service, provide an assortment that can only be found at Massy Stores.
Massy's General Manager Robert Singh, in his remarks to the small gathering, noted that with a total of 48 locations across the Caribbean, the Massy chain is credited with having transformed the retail supermarket space and sets the precedent for standards of quality, range, cleanliness, safety, customer service, along with supplier relations and people development.
Throughout the COVID pandemic, our stores have invested in and implemented a number of protocols which reinforce that safety is our #1 priority. A workforce of over 100 Guyanese nationals focused on delivering exemplary customer service and creating centers of excellence across our operations. In-store value-added services such as on-site premise pharmacies, staffed by qualified pharmacists, as well as money transfer and bill payment franchises, namely MoneyGram and SurePay. A loyalty program which rewards customers for shopping with us, and a business with a social conscience.
Shoppers can enjoy the same services provided at Massy locations at Providence and Turkine, and the same amenities at Massy Stores Mini. The new location will now provide jobs for 13 persons. For the newsroom, I am Shakima Day.
When the newsroom returns, the financial, weather and bridge reports along with sport. Welcome back to the newsroom. Now for a look at what's happening in sport. We start things off with some cricket news. Cricket West Indies Friday announced an action-packed schedule for the West Indies men, featuring 3 consecutive international home tours against South Africa, Australia and Pakistan from June to August 2021. 3 of those matches will be held in Guyana. More from Akim Green.
In all, West Indies will play 4 tests, 3 ODIs and 15 T20 internationals from June 10th to August 24th. The T20-centric nature of the tour will help teams prepare for the upcoming T20 World Cup, which is currently scheduled to be held in India in October-November 2021. The series against Pakistan was originally scheduled to include 3 tests, 3 T20 internationals, but CWI and the PCB have mutually agreed to replace the 1 test with 2 additional T20 internationals. The first part of the home summer will see West Indies face South Africa in 2 tests in St. Lucia from June 10th to the 22nd, followed by 5 T20 internationals in Grenada from June 26th to July 5th. This will be South Africa's first bilateral tour of the West Indies since 2010. This will be followed by a white ball only visit from Australia, who are scheduled to play 5 T20 internationals in St. Lucia from July 9th to the 16th, followed by 3 ODIs in Barbados from July 20th to the 24th. Pakistan will play the T20 International Series over 2 legs, the first 2 matches in Barbados on July 27th and 28th, followed by the last 3 in Guyana from July 31st to August 3rd. They will then move to Jamaica, where they will complete their tour with a 2-match test series from August 12th to the 24th. CWI CEO Johnny Graves said, open quote, "To host 3 international teams back-to-back in 5 territories is unprecedented, and putting these fixtures together was an enormous COVID-related logistical challenge. We must thank the visiting teams who are agreeing to travel at this challenging period for world cricket, and we are especially grateful to our regional governments who are playing such a vital role in partnering with CWI to ensure that international cricket can be hosted safely while providing entertainment for our loyal fans and income for our cricketers and cricket communities." End quote. The entire summer will follow biosecurity safety protocols, with players and team officials undergoing regular tests for COVID-19. A CWI release said it's yet to be determined whether fans will be allowed at stadiums. For the newsroom, Akin Green.
Advisor to the Ministry of Health, Dr. Leslie Ramsamy, says the government would consider the possibility of allowing only vaccinated persons to attend sport events. Akim Green spoke with Dr. Ramsamy earlier today and filed this report.
Dr. Ramsamy was responding to a question from the Newsroom Sport on Friday on whether fully vaccinated persons would be allowed to attend upcoming international cricket matches at the National Stadium Providence, East Bank, Demerara.
A reasonable expectation that that could be permitted. Government will have to consider it and discuss it. and make a decision on it. It is not something that is far-fetched. It is a reasonable thing that can be done. Other countries are doing it, and Guyana will not ignore that possibility.
West Indies are scheduled to host Pakistan Providence for 3 T20 internationals from July 31st to August 3rd, which forms part of the Pack Home Series program and also includes visits from South Africa and Australia. According to Cricket West Indies, it is not determined whether fans will be allowed to attend matches in person. In April, organizers of the Hero Caribbean Premier League announced that this year's tournament will be held solely in St. Kitts and Nevis from August 28th, and 50% capacity will be allowed for fans who are fully vaccinated. Dr. Ramsamy encouraged the Guyana Cricket Board and other national associations and federations to raise the issue with the government of Guyana.
I would encourage the cricket board and others to raise this issue with the government, because it's a decision we'd have to make. And I think that given what we're seeing in other countries, that vaccination significantly reduced transmission of the virus, that we begin to provide that incentive for citizens, that if you want normal lives, you will be vaccinated. You will have to be vaccinated. So I'm encouraging citizens, come out, get your vaccine.
According to the former health minister, at this time, Guyana has about 33% of its adult population with one dose of COVID-19 vaccine, and approximately 5% of the adult population is fully vaccinated. Dr. Ramsamy said he expects by July-August, more than 60% of Guyana's population will have their first dose, and hopefully by then 30% will receive both doses. For the newsroom, Akim Green.
After 2 years of being based in Portugal playing professional table tennis, Chelsea Edgell has returned to Guyana. On Friday, the 23-year-old revealed how she navigated representing the nation, mainly on the back of the financial support of her parents.
Leading up to preparing for the games, not being able to be sponsored for whatever reason, and this is before the pandemic as well, not being able to garner sponsorship to be able to compete at the highest levels, to attend the highest training camps. Even though I was in Portugal, I was playing at a club and playing in the professional league. How I navigated, that would be with the help of my parents, primarily my parents. Yes, I was assisted by the GOA with an IOC scholarship, and yes, the association did what they could, and I'm very grateful to both the GOA and the GTA for affording me the opportunities to go and represent Guyana. But throughout my preparation and throughout my career in table tennis, the majority of the onus, besides that one point I was sponsored by a continental group of companies, that it was on my parents, that they funded almost all of my trips, funded my training, funded my travels, and everything that I would ever want in the sport, that would be given to my parents.
And how do you think? Do you think that this is something that a trend that could continue?
At this point, no. As I get older, I begin to understand, more of, how money works and whatnot. And I would say, for me personally, it is unfair to have my parents continue to fund my career, because at this point I'm no longer a junior. I am an adult. I am capable of earning and whatnot, but at the same time, I don't represent myself when I go abroad. I represent Guyana, and I don't think it is fair that they continue to fund the brunt of my travels and me representing Guyana as a whole. Make them ready to where they are a brand, and that companies would want to sponsor them. Yes, we need more support from the government, and we need more support from our governing bodies and sports bodies in general. But we need to, as athletes, offer something in return. Might it be an image? Might it be, you know, a great talent or something? It's a two-way street, and I think we need to have more of a dialogue with these companies and you know, have them more sit down on an organizational level to be able to say, okay, this is where I want to see this athlete, this is where I want this athlete to go, and figure out a plan as to how we can get there. I would say that my meeting with the Minister of Sport was really insightful, and it was good to see that he's listening and he's open to suggestion. I would say that our meeting was, I think, on both ends enlightening, to be able to share the plights of not just myself but fellow athletes who go through the same thing or sometimes even worse than I do. I think that he has now an understanding. I don't know if I can say that he understands, but I think he has now a better understanding of what is happening and what needs to be done for us as athletes.
The Guyana Cycling Federation's Independence 3-stage cycling will pedal off on Saturday morning, and according to Racing Secretary of the Federation, Malcolm Sunaram, all systems are in place for a successful event.
The guys already sent off from the National Sports Commission. They left already for Berbice. We have 48 persons registered so far. We have other people might register the morning of the event, because a lot of people still, you know, everybody is based it on when they're feeling good and so forth. So they would come up in the morning and decide whether to ride in or not. But so far we have officially 48 persons registered.
Sunaram felt it is difficult to gauge who could be a favorite since it's been a lengthy period since the riders would have competed in a stage race.
It's the first time we are having the 3-stage after a hiatus of approximately 4 years. So definitely the guys are looking forward for the competition. As far as judging the performances, a stage race is totally different from an individual, a one-day race, right? Because you have to plan it accordingly. You have to ride and be able to save in for the next stages that are to follow. You understand? There's a case whereas you can't exactly assess the situation until we are actually in it. When you're racing regularly, one-day races, and then you have a stage race that pops up in between, it's a total different scenario. The guys are accustomed to the one-day races, so a lot of guys who you might say, like based out of the 10 that we said are the favorites, just based on fitness and one-day races, some of them might not be able to handle the stage races.
The meet is making a return following a financial commitment from the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport. The event was last held in 2016 when Team Evolution's rider of Orville Hines emerged champion. The race will pedal off in the Asian County of Berbice from 7:30 outside of the Criverton Police Station and end the first stage at Main Alexander Streets, New Amsterdam. On the same day, the second stage of the race will also be contested, pedaling off at 14 hours at the Rossignol Stelling and ending on Carifest Avenue in the city. The final stage the next day will ride off in the bauxite mining town of Linden from 7:30 and conclude just outside the National Sports Commission Homestretch Avenue. The 3-stage will cover an approximate distance of 171.5 miles. The event is usually held in observance of Guyana's independence anniversary, celebrated on May 26. For the newsroom, Akim Green.
And that brings us to the end of our newscast. Thanks to our news team and technical staff. I'm Kurt Campbell. Take care and remember to stay safe. Thank you for watching and see you again on Monday.